Hello there, everyone. How are you all doing? So, in this class, we'll learn how to sculpt rocks. If you're someone who wants to sculpt basic environments for yourself, especially stylized ones, so this is the tutorial for you. So, let's begin. We'll start with something big and blocky, which is this kind of cylinder. And what I used to do, I go and find a carving brush for myself. It could be damn standard, it could be something from the orc brushes. So here I'm using orc cracks just to mark some of the flow of the rocks or the breakage, you can say that. Why is this important, you ask? Because rocks also flow. They are again organic stuff, kind of organic stuff, so they have a tendency to go in one direction. That's why we have to specify a basic pattern of how your rock's gonna be. If it's something like a vertical rock like mine, the panels, the cracks will go on a vertical direction, and then when I get all the basic divisions everywhere, I tend to fill them with clay buildup. So here is what you're seeing me doing. I'm using clay buildup to fill all those cracks, and the shapes that I made. Here you have to make sure that you break a little bit, not too much. Don't make it noisy. First start with equal blocks, equal size of blocks, somewhere around equal, but have some differences. And yeah, have a variation of clay buildup. Sometimes you can also use alt, or you can sculpt in subtract mode and then add it and then subtract it. So that way you will get a variation. Once you fill all the areas of your see here I'm using subtract mode just to give some of the variation of your rock. Once you fill all the surface of the rocks or the blocks, it's time for you to polish it. Here I'm using again a custom polish brush. Edge polish will also work. Trim dynamic will also work. You can also make sure to sculpt it on a dynamish object. If you want to have a, you can again sculpt this. There is no hard and fast rule to not to sculpt on a Z remeshed model, but for this time I am using dynamish since it gives me a little bit more control over the topology. It's all I just have to drag on the outside with control and click. It dynamishes it gives me equal topology. And so yeah, if you don't have this rock brush, I don't know, this is not a rock brush, it's just a simple polish brush which works in a combination of trim dynamic as well as clay polish or edge polish. Yes. So yeah, you can also if you don't have this brush, you can go ahead and build on top of that surface. You can also use the freckle brush, and on top of that you can use the trim dynamic and edge polish to get this kind of result. My purpose is not to create a realistic rock, it's all about stylized. But again, stylized doesn't mean you do not follow the basic rules. The basic rule says the rock should feel organic as well as flowy, as well as some part as inorganic. So we can leave some parts as hard, like hard cuts, and some parts can be a little bit fluid. So polishing plays a major role here. Try with trim dynamic, it gives very great results. And again, with all the brush that you use on a rock, especially stylized ones, you can do a combination of add and subtract method again here as well, while polishing as well, to pull and push the rock like I am doing. If you see the parts coming out, that means I'm pressing Alt. If the part is polishing, just polishing, that means no Alt, it's just add. So that's how you do some variation on rocks. And this was just some basic a platform that I was creating. This is going to be the base of that platform. I did it for a game in Unity as an experiment. So yeah, with my brother. That was a game of 2 players where you have to throw a spear turn by turn, and whose health depletes first will lose the game, and the other guy wins. Cool. So yeah, this was one of the platforms that I created for the game. The game is not online. It was just for something personal, as a personal project. Okay. So yeah, here you notice me doing the control drag, which is a redynamishing the object. I prefer it since I'm not bound with any of the topology requirements here. It's not going to be movable or what do you say? For me, the requirement was not to have a perfect topology as it is. So I went with Dynamish, and in the end, while I'll be doing the importing in engine of your choice. For me it was Unity. I'll just go ahead and decimate it according to my preferences, according to my budget, and then I can bring it to Unity, UV it in Maya, and bake texture, everything. So yeah, it's getting in shape pretty well. So that was one part, and following the same techniques, I have created the same platform with different rocks, and one rock variation will work. You just have to move them, stretch, squash them, and place them, rotate them. So one rock, one block, brick, whatever you call them, will be good enough for you if you're creating something small of a platform where character can stand. Basic environment where you can present your character for your demo reel, for your artwork, or if you are sculpting in general, rocks. This is the way. You just don't have to sculpt everything. You can sculpt one part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 1 or 2 breaks, and then place them all together, stretch, squash, move around, and you'll be good to go, because nobody remembers how it looks, and it doesn't matter. Simply, it doesn't matter. See, something like this, a big of a platform I have, I'm just refining it. I did the same thing. One rectangle, or you can say cube. I stretch them, make it in such a way to just move here and there, and push, pull, some clay buildup, some polishing, and you will get a platform. The rocks you are seeing placed around here is just one rock, duplicated, rotated, and placed accordingly, so that gives the variation that there are multiple rocks placed there. This is the technique that we use n number of times in games, so many times in personal works. So this is the technique that we use everywhere, whether it's rock, whether it's hair, whether it's ornaments, whether it's anything which is repeatable, or you can say unidentifiable on the outside, for the outside viewer. So this is what we do sometimes, which is duplicate, rotate, and place it. I hope you get it. Right, I'm just doing some experiment with the poly paint, just to give some depth and variation for this, like darken the cracks and lighten on the curvature. This is the basic method that we use for Stylized, a very basic method. This is just darken out the AO part or the whatever the cracks you have, the deepest area, dark them. Mid values will be on the surface and the curvature will have the lighter values, and a gradient from the bottom will work. But for now, for ZBrush presentation, this will work for me. Here we go. We have a basic platform and we have the support for the platform. Let's combine them together. We have this. I also went ahead and extracted few parts of the mesh on top to create the effect of a stylized grass and moss, which will give a feel of a mix of jungle and organic vibes. Here I'm using again a hard crack brush, something if you have. This is from the odd pack again, you will get it online for free. And this is just to give that extra polish, that extra feel of the rock, give a little bit of extra variation, because if you polished it too much you won't get that, you will lose most of the cracks. You can enhance them, or you can, what I'm doing, you can give a little bit of feel to the rock like this with your high intensity brush, which is important because when you bake it should come out. And now you can move on to the smaller parts of the rock, the smaller details like this, the smaller cracks, the smaller segments. We started with a cylinder, we divided into the multiple areas, you can say, and keeping in mind a flow of the pattern. If the rock is vertical, the flow of the rock, the lines will be vertical. And again, same thing, if the rock is lying down, the flow will be like that. You can't have the flow random in anything, it just looks weird, so keep that in mind. Since we are doing it, you can follow the same and it doesn't look bad, it looks very good. So we have the platform ready, we have the smaller details, we have the bigger details, everything is there. Now let's move on and give some poly paint to this guy. Again, the same thing, AOs will have the darker values, the normal values will be on the surface, the base value which you want, and on the curvature you will have the lighter shade of that color, the same color with 3 tones. That's it. And you can go ahead and also manually paint if you want. I haven't done it. So now it's the time for me to decorate it a little bit to make it a little bit more presentable and fully finish the platform with some greeneries. Here we have it. Here we have a plant and I'll just place it. I'll make it more stylized. I'll also give it some colors. And for some variation, let's scale it up and put it. There we go, a little very low poly plant. You can easily make it in Maya and place it accordingly, the leaves, and it'll be good to go. Basic plants which we can use in stylized games. Nothing major of a requirement. We are not going to use mega scans for this project. It doesn't matter. We are not in Unreal anyways. So if you want to present your character in ZBrush or you want some screenshot from ZBrush, it's better to go extra mile and place some props, place some organic stuff, something just to break that monotony of the rock or anything. Especially if you are creating environment and you want to present the high poly, you can go ahead and use this technique. By the technique I mean you can use more elements. No harm in adding more elements to your art. It'll just break a little bit of monotony. And we can give some thickness just to make it more stylized, subdivide it, and we are good to go. Is what we're looking for. Yes, subdivision, and give some green colors. That's it. Make sure it stands out. It stands out from the grass that we have. So yeah, now we can have another plant. Why not? 2 variations, 3 variations of plants will be good enough. One plant was ready. Let's place it somewhere. And the second plant is right here. You can go ahead, give it some thickness and make it green again. Just checking the parts here and there, making it big and adding again some extra loops supporting edges just for it to maintain that shape. Once you add it everywhere, you can go ahead and give some thickness and subdivide it. Boom, I'm just checking it. Now the thickness are there. We can subdivide it and looks good, looks stylized, looks good enough. Since the purpose of this platform is to have just the side view for the player to play, I am not focusing so much on the top, but we did everywhere, so that is it. I'm just going ahead and placing the greeneries everywhere wherever I feel like. This one I downloaded from the internet, few of them, and I'll just need the top. So it's a basic one. I didn't want to waste my time on it, so basic plants, it's fine for presentation purpose. Yep, there we go. Just place it somewhere on the corners, make it organic. It should portray the story that you want to display here, right? You should have something in mind. Don't go random colorful. Even if it is colorful plants, you should have some kind of stories. By looking at this, you can see that this should be somewhere inside a jungle. It's all green and brown. Yep, cool. So I hope you get something out of this video. If you're someone who still missed out on subscription, you can go ahead and subscribe my channel and like the video just to pay this class fee. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy Ganesh Chaturthi.